Hey, I'm Dr. Shannon South. I'm an award-winning therapist, a best-selling author, and an international teacher and trainer. And I'm so happy that you're here to learn about how perfectionism gets in your way of having a successful business. I'm going to cover 3 crucial ways that this happens because I've seen it over the last 25 years in helping people overcome their blocks to success and joy. I am passionate about helping people live a life and create a business that's at 200%. And what I mean by that is 100% inner fulfillment, 100% outer success. So let's dive in. Also, if you're new to my channel, please subscribe and hit the alarm button so you don't miss any of these videos that I'm putting out. So one of the number one ways that perfectionism gets in the way of your successful business: rigid thinking. Rigid thinking. So the perfectionist, unfortunately, is motivated by an inner critic. We know this voice, right? It's good, it's bad, it's right, it's wrong. It has to be this way. I'm the only one that can do it. No one else can do it right. This whole rigid rules and roles, all these rules that create rigidity within the perfectionist. And what happens when we have such rigid rules and roles running a business? We get out of touch with creativity, spontaneity, and our whole self, that sense of ourself that helps guide us like an inner GPS, right? We lose touch with that because we have these rigid beliefs that are running the show. And the inner critic is behind that. And it's exhausting. You know, every time I do a training, I have so many perfectionists in the room, and they are totally understanding what I'm saying when I say that. It's like, I have to load the dishwasher this way, or this has to be done this way. And it will wear you out. So that kind of perfectionism really, really dampens the creativity, the joy, and all the spontaneous ahas that could come up for you to create a successful business. You know, you look at people over the decades that have had successful businesses, and most of them have had moments of aha and creativity that have really turned the ship of their business towards success. And I don't want you to miss those. So really, really take this seriously, folks, because perfectionism is a wet blanket on your business, and that stinks. I don't want that for you. All right, the second thing is how perfectionism gets in the way of your business. Impossible standards. Now, this fits along with the rigid rules and roles and the inner critic, but the perfectionist sets impossible standards for themselves. The bar is always higher. I'm always following this huge bar, trying to reach this bar that I can't ever reach. It's exhausting. And the bar is I'm the only one that can reach this bar. And usually I've set this bar myself, right? When I'm in perfectionist mode and I can't reach it, or I'm killing myself, exhausting myself, trying to reach this impossible standard. So how does the perfectionist create more realistic standards instead of having to hustle and wear themselves out, trying to do an impossible amount of work or an impossible standard that they can't meet? Number 3. So number 3 is super important, and this is why. This is how perfectionism gets in the way. Decisions are run through what I call a deficiency motivation. Now let me tell you more about this. So shame and unworthiness feed the core of the perfectionism, and they fuel this pattern. And so unfortunately, you know, Dr. Abraham Maslow, the psychologist, used to call this a deficiency motivation. So when we run our business decisions through lack, through deficiency, we end up with shame and unworthiness, always trying to feel better about ourselves, and always running our decisions through the lens of lack and deficiency. It's never going to be enough. I'll never be enough. And what happens is this: it totally snuffs out the self-love. The self-love. And it's so painful. You know, I see it all the time. And then the perfectionism takes over. It gets people in these traps of compulsive behavior, this obsessing, this overworking, this continual drive to be better. And it comes from a place of deficiency, which wears someone out. So, but the perfectionist will say, but I can do it. I'm the only one that can, right? Being honest with yourself, it's exhausting. So how does that get in the way of the business? We lose our sense of big picture thinking. When we're lost in shame and unworthiness and trying to, this deficiency survival mechanism, we can't see the big picture, and we miss this 360 view of possibility because we're stuck in running decisions through this deficiency lens. And so stepping into self-love and healing this part that's overworking, over pushing, always setting unrealistic standards so that the person can truly align with their highest, best self and relax and create possible standards that are achievable and doable in your business. So these are some of the ways that perfectionism gets in your way of having a successful business. I've seen it for years, and it's totally healable. That's the good news. I created a free quiz to help you identify if you are a perfectionist or stuck in this trap, or if you're one of the other 6 traps that I've seen over the last 25 years. And that's getting in your way. It's called the 7survivaltraps.com. And you can take that free quiz and find out, are you a perfectionist? And what are some really solid ways of overcoming and healing this thing so that you can truly have a successful business? Or are you one of the 6 other traps and they are getting in your way more than this one? But anyway, we know some of us have at least a thread of perfectionism in us, which creates that compulsive behavior, which creates that rigid thinking, which creates that inner critic being so loud and so exhausting, and then feeds that shame and unworthiness core. You know, they used to call the perfectionist the uncooked egg because it all looks so good on the outside, right? It's like all the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed. It looks so pretty, but if you really dive deeper inside, that unworthiness and shame, that uncooked egg, that core is really, really running. And it needs more self-love to cook. So hope that example is helpful for you. Thank you for being here. I hope this was helpful in helping you identify your perfectionism and how that gets in your way of having a truly successful business that you deserve. Remember, if it's good for you, it's good for your business. Self-love is healing, and creating a win-win so that you can have more success and joy is what it's all about. So grateful that you're here. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Hit the alarm because I'm going to be putting out videos all the time, helping you overcome things that are in your way of truly having the life and business of your dreams. Thanks again for being here, and have a wonderful day, and stay self-loving, and let's heal this thing.